LCS of the week.
Thank you very much, Pyrotechnics. I'm Eva Supporter, joined here by Martin the Fisho Lunge, and we are here with two LCS coaches. That is SK Gaming's Inner Flame and Sheepy from the Unicorns of Love. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Great to have you guys here, and also great that we get to hear a little bit more from the coaches here today. And of course, I'm sorry to bring it up, but we'll have to talk about last week. And you guys both going an 0-2 performance. Let's maybe start with you, Inner Flame, because it was very out of the element for SK Gaming after coming off an 8-game winning streak. What have you identified 1 week later as the main things that went wrong in those games?
So the main issue we had was we didn't practice effectively coming into the week. We had just like a few technical difficulties, like internet and sickness, like sickness more. We missed practice days, and we were just sloppy in the games. We made lots of like clumsy mistakes, and I think that was like the main thing that made us lose that week.
And how do you, as a coach, then, after your team have gone 8-0 first, they lose the first game, how do you make sure everyone is still feeling okay and believing in the team and trusting in their teammates?
Well, of course, like fixing the issues first. Sickness is like probably done now, so just play more really. Play more, try and catch up for like lost time.
Same question actually goes for you, Sheepy. You guys coming off a pretty rough week as well. After the week before, you went 2-0 finally. Then last week, everything kind of fell apart. What did you identify as the mistakes?
From our side, I think that mainly we should have put more emphasis on our practice. It was a time where we had people over to our house, and we did a lot of stuff outside of the game, and that was really new, and as well on the LCS days. This is something we will be more careful about in the future, and it just got us a little bit sidetracked, and I think we were not as focused compared to the weeks before. So I think this is something where we have to chime in first.
I would also really like to know from both of you, how much do you practice, like the teams here? What is the standard schedule for an EU LCS team? Are we talking 8 hours of scrims, or how's it looking like for you guys first, Sheepy?
A normal practice day is usually people are waking up at different times, but everybody should be ready to be interactive at like 12, 13. Usually people have already started playing solo queue, and then there's the normal practice hours. I think there are two different ways. The first one is you play a 1 best of 5 per day. And the other one is you have a 15 till 18 practice block, then 1 hour practice off, where you usually eat something, and then from 19 till 22, and then afterwards people play solo queue. So a typical day can go from 8 to 11 hours.
Where do the replay watching come in that?
It comes usually after, and I have a specific amount of time before and after the scrims just to look at something. And also we have on our end, we have Saturday and Sunday as a really start prepping for the team that we are facing, so we can already practice peaks and bans.
Is it the same for you guys, Inner Flame?
If the games are fast, you can look at something quickly, like in between, but you don't want to be impolite to the other team as well. So you just start as soon as possible, generally. Otherwise, you just look after practice. We start usually around 1, 2, play a game or two of solo queue. You don't want the players to play too much before they go into scrims as well. We like to have a day off as well, so Saturday is our day off. I think it's important that everyone gets their like own time as well. And then you have to try and like fit in sponsor work as well.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it all kind of comes together, but generally you do the kind of 15 to 18, 19 plus, and closer to playoffs, I think like most teams will do the like 1 best of 5 a day, just to try and simulate things as best as possible.
You mentioned that there's a lot to do, a lot to fit in. You, of course, have a huge team behind you as well. Sheepy is just you and a couple of others for now. You guys are facing each other here in the second game of the day. So, Sheepy, give me your thoughts on that matchup. Haven't been able to beat SK yet. This could be the next big thing.
Last time we played against SK, we felt really strongly about the matchup. We actually thought that we had prepared enough, but apparently they came out with a win, and we've taken a lot from it. Now we are more focusing on making ourselves feel comfortable and really trying to simulate as good as possible how the game will go, what picks they will pick and ban, and we just, before the game, go through different team compositions. And I think this is something that will help us in the end to exactly know what are our win conditions and how do we want to play them at.
Joe, what are your win conditions?
I don't think teams have like changed too much as far as playstyle goes, but obviously the patch changes the picks, and it will be interesting to see the picks thrown out.
Yep. It'll be a very interesting one in that one. Well, since we'll be talking to coaches here on the desk all week, it's only fair that you can pick their brains too. Just tweet your questions at LOL Esports and use the hashtag #AskACoach, and we'll share your replies with our guests later in the show. But for now, let's turn our attention to the first matchup of the day between the Giants and Fnatic. Last time these teams met, Giants were still looking to find their footing on the LCS stage and weren't prepared to stop Reignover's Rengar. It'll be interesting to see how these teams play with a couple of wins under their belt, and especially Giants. So let's start by taking a look at their lineup. We have Werlib, Frederick, Pepinero, Adri, Rydel, and their coach Lozark. As said, a couple of wins under their belt after not winning since week 1. They won twice last week. How much of the win versus you guys, Sheepy, do you attribute to the fact that they were very high on the momentum after that Elements win?
I think there's a lot to contribute there, especially as a team that's coming from a background where you are very fastly underestimated or very less input or thought put into playing against you. They had like no worries. Like they could 100% concentrate on the game. They had really not so much to lose, and yeah, I think this is also a strength that we feel as well.
Yeah, and I think for Giants, when you watch them play, even though they've been down in the bottom of the standings nearly all the time here in the LCS, they still seem so focused in the game. Against Elements, they were really far behind. They're going for that one steal with Frederick where he gets the Baron, and instantly they know exactly what to do. They go 5-man bottom lane, get 3 kills, win the game. I mean, that focus for them, even when they're behind, is really, really important when you're playing these bottom tier games, we can call them, because again, you want to beat them. Beating Elements means they can almost climb above them in the standings, which is a big thing for Giants.
Yeah, that Baron steal, by the way, versus you guys especially, that was interesting.
Yeah, sometimes we tend to make Nashers not the safest way. I think we had also a talk when Crepper was on the analyst desk about our Nashers being optimizable, and in this regard, I think we talked a lot about it afterwards, and yeah, I hope it doesn't happen again, especially not today.
Fingers crossed. Innerflame, what is your take on the Giants? They did win 2 games last week, but do you see potential in there for top 6?
I mean, they gave us a really hard time when we played them. At least like up to them, we had some hard games, but I think they kind of exposed us more than others. They showed like real good team composure as well. Like playing against Elements, they came back. Like all the odds were against them, right? So you need like a lot of team composure to like kind of get yourself together and like capitalize on the mistakes of the opponent.
Yeah, they will need a lot of team composure versus Fnatic as well. Turning to the other side of the rift, let's take a look at that lineup for Fnatic: Huni, Reignover, Febiven, Steelback, Yellow Star, and their coach Daylor. Another 1-1 week for them, 7-3. Day 1, of course, they had that win versus you guys. There was a lot of talk about the picks and bans. Maybe they banned out Freddy of some sorts. And were you guys thrown off, or was your game plan thrown off of what they pulled out?
No, I mean the picks and bans really went how we thought it would. Like I said, it was a lot of like individual errors from us, and that came from not being able to practice enough. Yeah, I mean that was basically it. I think we were exposed a little bit, but again, a lot of it was due to us not being able to practice effectively.
You guys actually beat Fnatic the week before. What did you make of that 1-on-1 performance and kind of the things that they also can work on? Because when they play good, they are godlike, but then they still drop the ball a couple of times.
I think they had a really strong early game, especially against us, and overall, they are very pick-oriented team. They play picks like Lissandra, they play Rengar, and those picks are just, if you are not on top of your game or you just slack off at some point and let the tempo go down, then there's a lot of potential to come back, which we capitalized on when we played against them. So mainly what I think is really important is that they just keep on fighting the whole time. And I think you also heard it before in the voice chat, Huni is usually the one that is very straight, go for the objective, Dragon, and yeah, I think that's something that's really admirable.
Yeah, I mean, like I think Huni played like really well against us. He had like a lot of clutch rumble ults. He did die, I believe, in like when Figan and that like outplayed him, but yeah, I mean, like he
we heard that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, right, but I mean, he like came back and he like did a lot of good rumble ults, like especially on the Baron fight. I think that was like the main turning point in the game. It kind of stopped us from coming back, and they like snowballed from there.
Yeah, I think it's very clear we have seen when you play against Fnatic, Hooney is the guy you have to look towards in terms of bans. You mentioned his Rumble, absolutely fantastic. You were talking about Lissandra being very important for them as well.
Yeah.
Those two bans needs to be here for Giants. Shut him down, because Fnatic has shown when he's on a tank, they're not playing that well in terms of team fighting, so they need him to be on a carry, and that should be banned away by Giants.
Yeah, one final thing. You mentioned they just need to keep on fighting, which is actually something we identified from you guys as being a flaw. Is that your general, as a coach, strategy? We should just keep fighting all the time?
I didn't mean it exactly this way. It was more like be on top of the game the whole time and don't, have periods where you're not talking. Something around this. I think that Fnatic overall, compared to us, has like a very clear win condition. They go for the picks, they go for the rotation for the towers, and this is usually their bread and butter. And at some point, they are just so strong that you can't even 1v1, 1v2. Like, at this point, they are just becoming too strong. And for us, I think that it sometimes looks very uncoordinated, and I think this is something that overall every team can improve on. Just not drop the ball, be focused, and always look for these opportunities on the map.
Yeah, we'll see how you guys play out. Thank you very much for joining us here on the desk. While the LCS rookies have brought new life into Fnatic's play in 2015, change in the top and bottom lane have also meant that they have a more international style of shot calling.
저희 바텀도 일단 2명 다 프랑스인이라서 뭐 다른 라인에 상관이 없는 그런 커뮤니케이션이라면 거기도 막 불어를 쓰기도 하고, 그리고 저희도 이제 탑 정글 사이에서 또 뭘 하려면 일단 영어로 정글러가 일단 탑갱을 간다고 말한 다음에 일단 그게 탑갱을 간다 하면 우리 바텀하고 미드가 조심해야 되는 거라서 일단 그런 거는 영어로 말한 다음에 이제 그 이후에는 어떻게 해야 하는 것은 뭐 저희가 다시 한국어로